Finally! God! I'm finally here! Jesus! Although there's kinds of weird... Yeah, I know. Restore Belief is online. Hello! Hi, guys. Okay, I got a heck of a glare. Right. Yep. Okay, hang on a minute. I'll be right back. I've had all kinds of technical difficulties. God. Oh, what a day. Okay, okay. I was kind of hoping for the light, but apparently that's... Oh, God, that tailbone. Apparently that's not going to work. So, okay. Show should be quite shortly. Please stand by. Yes, please stand by. Dad will punch some spirits into the next realm. Hey, you two. Thank you for being patient. I've got to get rid of this. This is driving me nuts. I feel like I'm getting strangled. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to have to go with that. Wow, that's bright. Anyway, hello all. Welcome to Restore Belief with Nikki. Ugh, there we go. It's been about 2 weeks since I have been on, and now apparently I need some tape because that is just too bright. Anyway, hi guys. Sorry for the delay. I had tech issues up the wazoo. About had it with tech issues and not feeling good and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I apologize. This is not what I had anticipated doing for today. Anyhow, life is life, I guess. It's just how it is. Anyhow, I hope you guys are well. She's going Mowgli, bright light. Yeah, and we're going to kill part of that bright light right now. So we have light, but it's not intense. Hey, Robert. Wow, sweetie, it's good to see you. I wish you were feeling better. Okay, that I can deal with. That kind of light I can deal with. All right. I was really wanting my natural light up there. Anyway, I forgot about that. I got a new picture up. Okay, so I'm Little Miss. Blah, 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 blah. All right, for that I apologize immensely. New picture. One head, 3 eyes. One nose. I haven't done the nose. The nose is right here. Mouth is supposed to be right here. Same cheekbones as a human head. These flutter. They come off the side of the head. Oh my God. Yeah, I know I'm not doing well. My cheeks are look like I'm running a fever. Anyway, so these are little flutters that come out and they help the ET breathe. This is just one of the ETs I've seen. I saw this one when I was a kid. She actually showed me herself and last week. Anyway, she showed me her head and her neck and part of her shoulders again. And well, I'm not screaming this time. Anyway, so that was one of the ETs I saw when I was a kid. It's no wonder I was screaming. Anyway, normal head, but big head, big head. And the flaps were up against, they kind of like where our ears are, and then they would come out like this and flutter, and it was it was how they breathed. So it was part down along their neck and up part of their head, and they like this, and then would come out, and these little ridges here would help them. They'd flutter. Anyway, oh come on, Work with me. Stay. Thank you. Anyhow, hey, Rosie! Mwah! I love you, darling. Let's see. Oh, cool. Oh, Drew, that's awesome. Well, if you ever come up my way, give me a holler. You got my cell phone number, so I don't give that out to many people, and those that have it, no, I don't. Anyway, yes, I am. Thank you. Yeah, same here, dear. Talking to my girl. Okay, I'm gonna pull this down. Gotta look like I'm high as a kite. I'm just not feeling good today. I haven't taken any of the pain meds or anything like that, but my tailbone has just been holy living hell. Amy, can you let Rox know that I'm on? And because he just sent a message, and let him know I got it taken care of, please. I don't think I could handle that while I'm doing this at the same time. You're hearing sounds coming out of her crib. Yeah. Oh, now what? Oh, now see, he's getting specific. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, he's now texting the phone, so I appreciate that, Amy. I'm pretty sure Sam is the one that said. Yeah. Yeah, you well, and your mom is there. I'm not having any psychic hits or anything like that right now, Rosie, but yeah, I know this from when I was there. Grandma's there. And she's watching out for her little ones. I was gonna say her little munchkins. There's a term that she calls them, and I don't remember what it is at this second, but it was so sweet and so cute. Anyway, because she was standing right there when I had them, putting one down for nap time. I'm not thinking clearly. Sorry, guys. There was a reason why I wanted to come on today, and I wanted to get this done before in 2 days from now, because there's other things that I want to start talking about on Wednesday. And so there were so many things in the last 2 weeks that have come up. Thank you, Amy. He's calmed down. So many things that have popped up that I wanted to really talk about, and I didn't want to let go of. Some of it I've typed it up. Unexpectedly. Okay, that's a police siren. What the hell is a police siren doing outside the... I'm not gonna go look. Anyway, so I didn't want to let it go. It's also with the typing is how I found out that I cannot do regular typing anymore. I have to have an ergonomical keyboard like I used to back when I had my first back injury. So anyway, so I won't be doing that anytime soon, any of the typing, until I can get an ergonomic keyboard. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of things that I need to type up, and that keyboard's going to be mandatory for my back. I am going to have to take a Tylenol. I hate taking pills. And Rose could definitely tell you that. She knows how much I hate taking these effing blankety blanket pills. Anyway, this is Tylenol. So I'm going to get into the reading here in a couple of moments. Somebody put me into an ET group, which is fine. Sometimes I have a real issue with that. Because some groups can get really wonky and very almost fantastical. Excuse me, this one's been rather interesting. There's a few of us that are actual abductees, and some of us that have dealt with the paranormal. Though I haven't really talked about the paranormal as I have the ETs. And the person who is being the admin is making sure that there's no derogatory speech, anything like that, which is really appreciated because a lot of us have received a lot of crap from people that we know or our loved ones or friends or other friends that are more like acquaintances type of thing. God, my eyes are really blue. Oh, that's never a good sign right now. I have blue-green eyes. I have hazel eyes, and when they're blue, it means something specific for my health. When they're green, it means something specific for my health. Rose. Oh, crap. Rose, I didn't expect to be psychic or medium today, but I literally just heard that guy is around again. All you need to do is tell him if he starts bugging you, your kids, hubby's kid, he'll be dealing with me. He ain't going to want to deal with me. So he better behave his little ass. Ow. Anyhow, just say that when you're walking around. He'll hear you. And I honestly, I don't know. I was one of your family members, but I didn't recognize them. It might have been your grandmother. Oh, now what? Well, that tells me that I need to do some work on your property. And I can do that by being here. I don't have to visit. Although I would like to visit. You know I would. Oh, don't start again, rocks. Okay, so actually, yeah, you and I should talk privately about that. Because I can deal with the protection. I can do the protection long distance. So but yeah, just walk around it and he'll hear you. And he knows not to fuck with me. So if he's not going to behave himself, he's not going to want to deal with me. Anyway, because I'll boot his ass. I'll make it so he can't return to the property. So, but that's a choice between you and hubby. And so anyway, so I'm babbling. I'm all over the frickin' place. I am so sorry. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to talk to you guys and actually, let's see if I can hit this on pause. I think I have to minimize this because I have to access. So I will be right back. Okay, come on. Why are you not minimizing? You are not minimizing. Okay. So YouTube, reading public. Yes. Okay. Come on, open up. Yeah, this was supposed to be read on February 22nd. I have not. Okay. Now, this is a something that took place in 2019. And since I cannot see the chat, okay, I can see it now. Okay, so I'm going to read. This is about a 20-minute story, thereabouts. I will not be able to see chat, so I'm giving you a heads up. Then we can talk about it afterwards. I think that's it. I think that's all the. Wow. I'm not used to seeing my eyes that blue. Wow. Okay. So here we go. I called this a chapter in the life of an ET abductee psychic medium. In approximately June of 2019, I psychically and mediumship wise heard they're going to take you all, end quote, regarding a group trip which was planned for the month of August in the mountains. They referred to the ETs, and quote unquote all referred to every group member who was attending that weekend event. I automatically said, "Oh, no, they aren't." Where I immediately put out a gigantic energy burst with a phrase that I don't even remember at this second. But I do have that phrase written down in my psychic journals, so no worries. I document like crazy when it comes to this kind of stuff. So within minutes, I was shocked to receive a message back. Only I didn't really know who was replying back. But to me, they felt very familiar, very loving and caring. And the message, it felt as if I knew them. I was informed that, and this is a quote, your entire group will be protected. No one will be abducted, end quote. I informed the group the next time I saw them who were going to be attending that weekend in the mountains of what took place and what I was told on both accounts. Sometime between this time frame and the event, I found out who was talking to me. It was specific members of the Sasquatch clan in the mountains. In 2019, I had no idea that when I put forth that kind of energy burst in that specific way, that I would be heard, let alone that there would be a response back. I was absolutely awestruck. So in August 2019, I and some friends were in the mountains for a weekend of skywatching and camping. And I had much more than skywatching on my mind due to what I was previously informed of and because of who I was now in contact with. It was an extremely eventful, well-packed, and informative weekend, to say the least. Our last night at this location in the late evening and early morning hours, I saw an enormous ET ship overhead of the location we were all at. We were at somebody's house, and it was appallingly how big this thing was. And due to certain circumstances with what I saw versus what others who were standing near me saw, it seemed that I was the only one to visually see this humongous ship. Yet that was later corroborated by another witness, who I will never name unless I am given permission to. Much later in time, I heard the size of this ET ship called a Mothership. by someone. Yet I had already knew that that was the term for this gigantic size of an ET ship. Now, what I don't have written in here is that the size of the ship was the equivalent to 3 football fields, okay, in length, and 2 football fields wide. American football fields, professional football field. I did the not estimation, feet, and I've got it written down. I've got that in my psychic notes. But that's saying something. That's a huge, huge ship. So, and when I say I saw this ship, I was looking up, we were all doing sky watching, and I was, how do I explain this? Excuse me, we were, and I don't have this written in here, so I'm going off script, so to speak. But we were at almost on the road, a few feet from the edge of the road, and we were all kind of standing in a line. Some of us were a little bit farther back, some of us weren't, so it's kind of like this zigzag pattern, but essentially we're all in a line and looking up, and at different sections of the sorry, my lips are getting really dry. Fast quickie on the lips. That came out wrong. Anyway, so some of us were looking off to the right, others were kind of towards the middle, others were towards the left middle, and I was looking off to the left. And I had been given a very specific set of kind of binoculars. They're a form of binoculars, or ocular. That's something I'd have to look up in my notes to tell you exactly what kind it was. But they were specially made by somebody. Excuse me, specially made by somebody. And I had literally just taken them down from my eyes. So they're sitting like, right in front of my nose, but, not up against my face. And I'm looking up, and I have this hum in my body that wasn't there. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I look up and to the left, and I'm like, why are the stars disappearing? And I'm realizing that it's this ship, this huge, huge ship. And it's down the street, but it's yet almost over us. Not quite over us, but almost. And in a fraction of me blinking my eyes, when I don't know how to describe this, but when I'm in the process of blinking and opening up my eyes again, and that happens so fast. I mean, just, when you're normally blinking, the stars were gone. I mean, all of them in the entire to the left of me, completely gone. And I'm feeling this hum in my core, in my gut. And it radiates like up towards up towards my shoulders, but not quite. Like at the shoulder blades is where it pretty much stops. And in that fraction of a second of me blinking, it's like a reflection of the sky. And I knew it was a reflection because when you see, boy, my back is not nice. When you see metallic black, and it has that reflective quality about it. I don't know how else to describe this. And I recently heard somebody, another abductee, call it a shimmer, and it is. It's like a shimmer, but then the shimmer stops, and nobody else heard the sound. That's what I couldn't. I'm standing next to a guy who is science up the wazoo. I mean, the credits this guy has behind his name. Science, like hardcore. And I'm like, are you seeing this? And he looks up and he goes, what are you seeing? And I'm like, and he's looking up and he's thinking they're stars. And I'm like, he's not hearing it. He's not seeing it. He's nothing. And I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe what I'm seeing. And it totally blew my mind. I was just, wow. So I'm feeling this vibration. To me, I could feel it through my feet, but yet nobody else that's standing near me or even farther away, 10, 15 feet away, they're not feeling it. And I'm like, how is this not? Why is it me that is feeling? I'm feeling this in my feet. I'm feeling it in my back. I'm feeling it in my gut. Hell, I was even starting to feel it up in my heart and up in, and I'm like, the hell is going on? And I remember looking up and it started moving. So it was hovering. And when I started seeing it kind of do this motion back and forth, well, actually it was going like this. Ow. It hurts to lift that arm. So basically it was doing this kind of a motion. And that's when it registered in my brain. Oh my God, it's hovering. That's the word that it's hovering. And I'm like, duh, why didn't you? And I'm looking up and going, oh my God, that's a mothership. And nobody else saw it. And I had confirmation from somebody else who saw it later. And they were not there at that given moment in time. They were there later, and that's all I can say about it. And I'm just like, this is unfreaking effing believable. It still boggles my mind. And the reason why I say it was, in my estimation, the size it was, because I remember turning at some point and turning my head back to look above the houses, above the trees, and it was doing this kind of, well, it was doing this kind of thing, like this back and forth, but it's not that dramatic. It's so slow, and I'm awestruck. It just was wow. And I just stood there and just held on to these binoculars in my hand and just was like, wow. And when I realized I had binoculars in my hand, I went, I wonder. And I used them. And of course, all I saw were the stars. Because, hello, this was, projects the long distance image and makes it look much closer. And I was like, but it was moving. And I was like, oh my God, you really are seeing, this is really happening. But I was so upset and so angry and so frustrated that nobody else saw it. Now, here's the next portion. Hang on, I gotta check because I'm not on the page. I gotta check. Okay. Okay, so going back to the stuff I wrote. Okay, so in the late morning of our last day, after that night of witnessing the huge mothership overhead, we were all getting packed up and ready to leave the location. That night I had slept on the couch. I was having a really bad night, or morning, I should say, because that was the wee morning hours. It was the early wee morning hours when I had seen that mothership. And what I didn't realize was that it was there the entire time. Anyway, so I had slept not in my sleeping bag and not in the tent, but I had slept. I had gone into the house and I just was having a really rough night of it, and ended up sleeping on the couch. And so I hadn't been outside yet, and I was packing up my stuff from what I had brought inside, and walked outside and eventually onto a certain section of the property to get a load of what would be the last beautiful view of the mountain, because from where we were at, you could see the mountain. You could see, and it was stunning. It was just such a gorgeous view. And I wanted to take it in before I left. Get a load of the beautiful view of the mountain and the surrounding trees one last time. And here's where things get interesting. Just as I was about to turn around, I found myself completely and unexpectedly not being able to physically move. I was quite literally incapacitated, completely frozen in that spot. I could not move my legs, my arms, my neck, my head, my mouth. Yet my eyes could move and I could breathe normally, and I was thinking normally. But I could not physically take a step forward, a step back. I could not move. And I didn't understand why. Now, there's a point to this next section that I'm going to read to you. The mosquitoes that year were absolutely horrifically horrendous in the area. And it was like watching a thin but heavy veil of mosquitoes flying everywhere in the day and evening time, but in the early morning hours, not so much. However, this was not the early morning hours. This was the late morning hours. So, like I said, while we were there, the mosquitoes were just awful, and bug spray didn't help much, let alone anything else. DEET, nothing freaking worked. So while I stood completely frozen, unable to move or even speak, standing there motionless, I was thinking to myself, quote, "Why can't I swat at those damn mosquitoes from next to my ears? And what the F is the mosquito on my knee? It feels like it's drilling into my knee bone. Ow!" End quote. I wasn't a happy camper. You see, I kept hearing mosquitoes less than a quarter of an inch next to my right ear, but the sound was farther away on my left ear. With my right ear, the sound was abnormally loud and yet sounded more like it was automated, which just didn't make sense to my brain, nor to how I was hearing it. an abnormally loud and abnormally large sounding bug. We're talking like less than, almost touching like ear hairs, how it was. It was intense. It was really freaking intense and excessively loud. The bone in my left leg and knee were hurting so badly, more so when I could finally move again. Approximately 4 hours later, sometime after I got home, as I was changing clothing, the jeans I was wearing had brushed against my left knee a certain way, which caused more pain, and I took notice of my knee and the pain I was in and looked down. I had a mark on the left side of my knee that looked like I had been forked with a 2-prong meat fork, and I was shocked to see 2-prong puncture marks on the side of my left knee. Hours later, the 2-prong puncture marks produced 2 red rings around each puncture mark, and the area was swollen and hurting quite badly. And because I knew, hang on a minute. Because I knew that I had slept on the couch and that I was not walking through knee-high grass, I was not, matter of fact, the yard was covered in moss. There was not a lot of grass. So when I say it literally could not have been, I can't think of the name of the bug. Cannot think of the name of the bug. Causes Lyme disease. I cannot think of the name of it. It wasn't that. I've seen people with that. This wasn't that. And because I had slept on the couch and had literally walked out onto the porch that had nothing on it, walked down the steps, using the handrail, using my cane. Yeah, I literally, there was nothing. There was nothing that could have, and in my mind, it was done deliberately to make it seem like it was a mosquito. Anyway, so I had already been using an antibiotic ointment mixed with hydrocortisone on the mosquito bites on my arms, and the tops of my hands. But with these 2 puncture mark wounds, I knew they would need more than just that, so I created an herbal antibiotic salve, type of ointment and started using it. That helped somewhat for the skin and topical pain, but the bone pain and swelling was deep and intense and becoming worse. And then I go into detail about the type of lines and marks, and I just decided I'm not going to do that. But anyway, I remember taking ibuprofen and using arnica gel for the area that was swelling. And I also realized about 12 hours after I got home, I remember being very angry, even furious at times when I realized what had happened to me, because I was literally forced not to move. I started to realize how it was done, standing there with everyone else around me in broad daylight, within complete view of many different people, me being physically immobilized. I realized that there was some sort of bubble around my body at the time when I was forced to be motionless, because I realized that there was no actual mosquitoes that were actually biting me or buzzing over or on my skin while I was motionless. Yes, the mosquitoes were flying around, and I remember thinking, quote, "Why can't that mosquito land?" because it's almost to my hair. Why can't it land? I don't understand why it can't land on my hair. Because you got to realize these things, these mosquitoes, they land on the hair, they get to the scalp or the forehead or the face or wherever they're trying to go for. And when I was immobilized, these things were not touching me. I had a barrier about yay high around my body, around every aspect of my body. It was like I can't say they were bouncing off, but it was like they were trying to land and they couldn't. It didn't make sense to me at that second, at that moment in time where that one mosquito was nearly touching my hair, my bangs over my forehead, but for some reason it couldn't. And it wasn't landing on the hair like the mosquitoes had tried to do and had repeatedly done over the course of the time that we were all at this location. And because of that, that's how I really realized that there was some sort of bubble, some thin bubble surrounding my body to where when I was literally immobilized and couldn't move. I remember being motionless, looking with my eyes to my right, seeing people moving about, and then looking up and to the front of my bangs. Hello. To the mosquito trying to land on my hair where it was trying to get to my forehead to bite. But I didn't understand at that very second why it couldn't land. It just did not make any sense to me. It did when I started to make realizations, and it definitely does now. And am I still angry about this? Oh, hell effing yes. Not a happy camper over this. When I could move again, when I could move again, I remember instantly and instinctively swatting at a mosquito on my right arm. It was near my right wrist, but slightly above my right wrist. And FYI, I walk with a cane, so I was holding the cane with my right hand at the time. And sure enough, from the second I was released, I had a mosquito on my arm, and the two ETs were no longer next to me. The mosquito died. Because, hello, hand on to wrist. And it was filled with blood. It was really gross. I had to go wipe. So many things happened in that short amount of time, and it's a time frame of what I can only guesstimate at the amount of time that went by. It was maybe 5 to 7 minutes of me not being able to physically move nor verbally speak, but it was likely more like 4 to 5 actual minutes. And yet, it felt like the whole world was literally passing me by when I was frozen, standing there, where I couldn't speak nor move, and I felt like my thoughts were being played with. Talk about pissing you off. That really pissed me and still pisses me off. I'd like to smack the living shit out of them for doing that. Felt like my thoughts were being played with because every time I tried to think of how damn effing loud that mosquito was in my right ear, it was like my personal thought was being counteracted, where I was told, literally, quote, "Oh, that's just a mosquito. They're supposed to sound like that." And I said, "What?" As if I didn't know that, but I was pissed off, knew that, and it was a truly stupid response of theirs, which just made me madder. Another example was when I thought to myself, asking myself, why can't I move? The immediate countermand reply was, "Oh, look how beautiful the mountain is. Look at the unusual pattern look at the unusual pattern in the snow is." And I'm like, what does that have to do with why can't I move? And I would be countermanded again, which I'm not going in it because it got really really invasive. There were a number of really invasive things, and I was like, it was like I was almost falling for it, but not quite. Because my critical thinking, and this is what I have learned when on a number of occasions when I've been taken, when I've been abducted. It's your thoughts being countermanded, and it's such bullshit. It's not okay. Of course, that take a look at the unusual snow pattern, of course, which is another form of distraction and countermand of my own thoughts, trying to dissuade me from asking more questions and me questioning of what is happening to myself. There was a great deal of countermand comments to any of the thoughts during those many minutes, so that when I got home years later, okay, hang on. Okay, so going back. So by the time I got home, and it was about 12 hours after being on that site, and the two prong like puncture marks on the side of my left knee with intense bone pain, and the mosquito sound buzzing so loudly into my right ear, and the other issue of the mosquito trying to land on my hair to gain access to my forehead, but wasn't able to because there was a barrier there. And then the countermand, barrier there. Then the countermanding of my own thoughts in my own head, and the full realization of the gigantic ET ship above that location only hours previously. And because when you looked up at sky, when we were in full daylight, there was no ship. It was all clouds. So, the realization of the gigantic ship above that same location only hours previously, and then also remembering that I was told by the Sasquatch clan in that area that they would protect the group of people I was with from being removed from Earth's ground, that they would not allow me or any of the members of our team to leave Earth. I started realizing what had happened, and when it all hit me, it hit me extremely hard. And I was absolutely furious about what was done to me. My point about the August 2019 experience with the ETs puncturing my left knee and leg area and drilling into the effing bone is that I have had other similar experiences where, yes, they have done similar things or something similar. Now, here's another example, much more minor, of one of those experiences. At the end of November through December 2020, I had that damned effing virus. However, I wasn't well in January of 2021, but was finally beginning to feel somewhat better by mid-February 2021. Sometime in 2021, I was sitting in this computer chair where I am now, dealing with a subject at this table. Don't remember what. I just remember doing something at the table. I had just put my left arm, on the table, got it comfortable, and then let out a big sigh of frustration over what I was hearing on the TV. And oddly enough, I don't remember exactly what was on the TV at the time, but remember it was nighttime when I felt a needle go into my left arm, and I realized that my entire left arm had been immobilized. I couldn't move it, And where the second I realized that my arm had been immobilized, I was immediately telepathically told, "Don't move," though I could still move the rest of my body. And oddly enough, when I think about this, I make a fist and I want to go, pew. They were not 6 inches from me, to my left. I look back now and I think if I had been agile enough back then, I think I might have punched someone with my right fist. After being told, quote, "Don't move," end quote, I took a deep breath, didn't move, but being frustrated, stated out loud, even though I knew they prefer being telepathic, I verbally stated, "Oh, come on now. Now what the hell are you doing to me?" Quote unquote. Next word I heard was inoculation. Seconds after the needle was removed, a puncture wound showed up on my left arm between the intersection and the large freckle I have on that arm, but the puncture was slightly above the crevasse of the inner arm. Yes, I took pictures afterwards because I have learned that if you don't, in a matter of hours, the evidence of what happened to you will vanish. And the human physical body will typically heal quickly, which of course is frustrating beyond words, especially when one wants to retain evidence, even if it's in pictures. And which has always made me wonder what they use to make us humans heal so fast, because I do not normally heal that fast. Not as fast as whatever it is they use on me. I have all kinds of stories. I've had surgery. They've done carpal tunnel surgery on me. They've done stuff with my throat and my eustachian tube. I have all kinds of stories that I could be talking about. But this is just one of those examples. Anyway, so I want to know what they use on us to make us heal so quickly. It also gets rid of the evidence. Think of that. Anyway, I said, quote, "A shot? A shot for what?" And I heard the words, "To help your body." Like that's gonna. I tried focusing on the word inoculation because I logically knew from past experience that they literally force my brain to forget, or they try to countermand and counteract my own thoughts. So I immediately knew if I put my energy on focusing really hard on that word that I would remember it, plus focusing on the image of a camera in my mind to be taking pictures immediately afterwards when it had happened, that would also help me remember. This was the first time I remember the word inoculation. Inoculation. Though I will say this, the same scenario has happened again quite some time after that incident. So here's yet another example. At the time I was laying in bed, just starting to barely wake up in order to get up to use the bathroom in the middle of my nighttime. I'm on so many different schedules. Sometimes I'll be on a nighttime schedule, so I'll sleep during the day. Sometimes I'll be on a daytime schedule like today to where I will actually sleep at night. So, it just depends on what's happening physically with my body. So I'm in the process of starting to wake up, realizing that I have to go to the bathroom. And before I can even get out of bed, I hear the word inoculation again. And after I used the bathroom, had found another realized, because hello, you got to go to the bathroom. So you get up, go use the bathroom, and you're like, as you're washing your hands, you're like, oh yeah. inoculation, and you're like, oh my God, that means there's going to be a puncture mark. And then you start checking your body and you're like, where the is that mark? Where? So that's usually what ends up happening. So after I used the bathroom, I had found another mark on my arm, which was not there when I went to bed that night. Only this time it was on my right arm, and I did manage to get pictures, even though I was really out of it. So here's my statement. As abductees or experiencers of the proverbial woo or paranormal, there are things we tell ourselves to discount our experiences or to explain away the things we are not yet ready to mentally grasp, or things which are more than what we can explain, such as the paranormal, or ET contact, or ET experiences, all simply because it is just so much easier to deal with than to deal with the reality of what we have seen, experienced, or have witnessed. And in my opinion, and simply for me, it's important to remember these experiences. It's also important to tell these experiences so that other people who are experiencing something similar or nearly the same, so that they know that they are not alone. Many experiencers and abductees talk about how they feel like they are completely alone in what has happened to them, and they really are not. You need to know you are not alone. There are many of us out there, many of us, frighteningly so. It's shocking to realize the amount of people that are out there that have had ET abductions and experiences. And so that the other experiencers know that this is also, they also need to know that this is how some races or certain races of ETs abduct humans, and how those ETs deal with human activities and situations in order for those ETs to do whatever their work is regarding their specific human subject. And as much as I dislike saying it that way, it is apparent to me that the ETs have a schedule of their own where they work their schedule in whatever that may be for them, and yet deal with our human schedule, whatever that is, no matter where we humans are at any given moment in time. And that means that they work around us, quite literally in some situations. They literally work around us in whatever our human schedule is, and they work. And as they work, they are quite literally in an extraordinarily high frequency to where we are not physically capable of visually seeing them. Of course, that makes them literally invisible to us, even if they are in the same room as we are, or even if they are standing next to us physically. Now, how's that for a creepy factor? Hell of a realization, huh? I sure would love to know precisely how they do that. And by that, I mean how high of a frequency and all the science things which revolve around that capacity. But then again, I'm sure numerous global governments would want that information too. Anyway, here's some interesting information I will share. Due to a specific situation with one of my hybrid children, I was told by a certain race of ETs, specifically regarding ETs who are doing human abductions for hybridization, that one of the many vast reasons they are doing hybridization is to breed human emotions back into the genes. And yet, obviously, it's their genes and the human genes combined to create the hybrid children turned into adults. My oldest hybrid child is obviously now an adult, has been for multiple years, and in human biological years is 40 years old. to be 41 this year, and she's stunningly gorgeous. Just, it mind boggles me. She's just beautiful. And yet the ETs have moderate to extreme difficulties in controlling these human emotions, which I find, honestly, completely fascinating. And yet I want to know in detail why. But then again, I was informed it's been bred out of the genes and they know exactly how to do that. And yes, there are reasons I know that information regarding the ET hybrids have difficulties with human emotions. It's from firsthand experience. Here's the thing of things, as the situations regarding me and where I stand on certain things, how things now regarding being an ET abductee. Between 2018 and 2021 and on into 2022, I have a bit of a different attitude about certain things that the ETs were doing or have done to me. Some things I will let go of simply because I have moved through them, worked through the emotions of them, all the aspects of it. Where other things, like the situation on that property in August of 2019, I have yet to move through, and I'm still very angry over it. Obviously, based on how I'm talking, it's obvious. Or a situation when I was in 6th grade, where even to this day I'm still completely, utterly, totally outraged over. So angry, in fact, that if I really start thinking about it, I get very, very angry to where I can't handle the emotions and I just start bawling because I am so pissed off over it. In 2019, I was very much still in the outrage mode, and ready and willing to take a hatchet to the ETs for taking and abducting me and doing things to my body and consciousness. And I even screamed that very thing at them while they were physically manhandling me, as I used to call it, by physically escorting me elsewhere. I literally had ET hands under my arms, and there were 3 of them, and they were physically escorting me, and forcing my body to move. And I was doing a lot of yelling and screaming. It was not nice. I was saying I would kill them and a bunch of other things. So yeah, I was not a happy camper. So yeah, when I say I've worked through a lot of things that have been done to me by the ETs, I mean it. There really are a lot of things that I have worked through. There are a lot of things that I haven't. It's part of the process, and it is a process. And those other abductees need to know that it is a process of dealing with the emotions. There are many things which have been done to me that I absolutely have not moved through, obviously, such as the anger of, nor the forgiveness of what they have done. But there are things that I have, and there are things that I absolutely treasure and would never want changed. That said, I do not agree with many of the things that they do, but there are some things that I do agree with. Not many, but there are some. Now here's food for thought. 2 items in situations like them that I remember are the most unforgivable. And those are situations I do need to work on. Do I get and understand that? Yes. Do I want to deal with them? Yes. But quite honestly, in the last 17 years, I have a hard time trusting people, and for a damn good reason. There are reasons that I am stating this publicly, and let's see if we're gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna continue on. Yeah, okay, I am. There are reasons I'm stating this publicly, and those reasons are as follows. There are extremely few qualified current professionals who deal with ET abductees and what they go through and experience, and the various traumas which are put upon, and done to them, done to those abductees, done to those humans. What we're talking about right now is counseling. And here's where things become even more interesting. Insurance companies sure as won't cover counseling expenses regarding ET abductee trauma unless it's possibly federally mandated. And even then, abductees' names, locations, and practitioners' notes could and likely would be used for governmental purposes. So, because insurance companies won't cover ET abductee trauma, everything is out of pocket. Yeah, right. Who can honestly afford out of pocket counseling expenses where it may need to be 4 times a month or more, depending upon the person and whatever it is that they require? There are very real, very dramatic, traumatic experiences that the human brain can and cannot handle, especially if the person is experiencing not so nice abduction experiences, because not all ETs are so nice and loving, where some are downright wicked, using a human as a guinea pig for experimentational purposes. And then there are the abductees who have soul contracts, such as myself, who have had numerous lifetimes of soul contracts with one or more specific races of ETs for specific purposes. I'm still learning about my experiences, and it's not so easy, but I am doing it. And I believe it's important to my soul, and I believe it's important for other ET abductees to know, if they don't already, to know that they really are not alone. And that's it. I'm going to exit out of that and that, and we'll come back over. Okay. Hidden at the time. Yeah, it was hidden. Yeah, the ship was just really quite a shock at how big it was. There's so many things that I talk about. Um, it's really important that people understand that I'm starting to go through. As I'm sitting here, there's so many things I want to talk about. So many experiences I want to talk about, and it's so all overwhelming. I mean, this could be weeks. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna sneeze. Hang on. Ooh. Excuse me. That hurt. Oh, that hurt the tailbone. Whew. Um. Whew. Wow. Okay. So there are a lot of things that I want to talk about. A lot of things that I remember from my experiences. Um, I'm not remembering everything. I know I'm not. Um, the fact that the female, the one that I talk about, the one with the 3 eyes, um, I don't remember her name right now. But talk about her, talk about um, my hybrid kids. They've all got soul contracts for doing very specific things. I'm literally being told right now one of my hybrid children is a ambassador. Um, and I'll get into that more later because I suspected that, but to have it confirmed right now, that is kind of shocking to me. So yeah, there's and I agree with Amy. She's making a suggestion. Look into the soul contracts. There may be a clause in the contract that nullifies it if the ET race abuses you in certain ways, leaving you free to do as you will. That's an excellent point of view, Amy, because a lot of the soul contracts and a lot of the that the ETs, all the different races are very, very legalistic, especially the Greys. And I know that I get taken by the Greys. I get taken by a couple of different races, but that's beside the point. But the Greys, the 7 foot tall ones, they're extremely legalistic. You want to think of an attorney who is, I mean, they're just, wow. That's how I think of the Greys, is as like an attorney. Um, so you have them, and then there's a kind of a blue green race that takes me as well. They're part of dealing with the hybridization, but it's just they're working on their emotions and stuff, so they're trying to put emotion back in to the races. Yeah, Amy says, I just know your nature well enough to know you would not be agreeable in advance in certain abuses. Yeah, you're right. That's, why there were a number of times um, where I was being escorted, physically escorted, um, and I was yelling and screaming at them. I'm I'm going to start keeping knives under my pillows, and you come near me and I'm going to cut you with it, you know. Um, or hatchet. That was my famous one for quite a while. I was like, because I kept seeing in my mind an actual long hand, one of those old fashioned hatchets from like the not the Normandies, the I can't think of what they are. Um, Not Norwegian. I can't. Can't think of. I can't think of what country. Um, Swedish, Norwegian, Hungarian. No, I can't. It's driving me nuts. Anyway, um, it's driving me nuts. Sorry. Anyway, but I was seeing this long handled with a really defined. It's like a warrior's type of hatchet type of thing, and and it was freaking them out. They were like, "Oh no, you're not going anywhere." That's why I had hands I had hands on my back, I had hands under my arms, and I was almost on tippy toes being escorted. Yeah, that was not fun. But yeah, they don't take threats lightly. I was pissed. I was like, you done did piss me off. And there was, nothing I could physically do. And I didn't know how to. I do now. I know how to protect myself energetically. But yeah, it's you're dealing with high frequency when you go to do that. So anyway, but I wanted to get that out there. There were a number of things that that had popped up, and just really needed to get that info out there. A brain fart going on now. Gosh almighty. I just kind of lost. Anyway, so the info's out. I want folks knowing you're not alone. Some people get that, some don't. If you're just starting to make realizations, there are groups, there are shows that are supportive. There are people out there that can talk with you, help you with different other people that you can give you names, of who to contact. And oh my God, my dad is with me. Whoa. Anyway, just you're not alone. And the thing that I talked about regarding the insurance and counseling and stuff, finding a counselor who's willing to talk about this. I mean, somebody who can handle dealing, because this is a hell of a subject to deal with. It's how do you want to proceed as the human? How do you want to deal with this? How do you want to go about finding out if you have a soul contract? It was a hell of a realization for me when I made the realization that I had a soul contract with this one specific race for hybridization. Hell of a, it's still mind-boggling to me. A lot of this is very, very mind-boggling, but you live your day-to-day life, and when you start to have certain things happen, when you're about to get taken, you recognize the signs. Yesterday I got very frustrated with the ETs because off my left ear, well, this is my left, I don't know if it's showing up as my left, but my left ear I now recognize. And if it had not have been for Susan Swanback, who had literally witnessed while I was on her show a number of months ago, literally witnessed a download, an ET download as it was happening while I was responding to something that she had asked me. She literally saw a this it was like she described it as a tube coming down and hitting my head, and I've always wondered what that sensation was. I'm a psychic medium, an ET abductee, and I have all these and I'm very physically sensitive to a lot of different things. I've been told that I should be, because my sense of taste is off the charts in a lot of ways. My sense of smell is off the charts in a lot of ways. I've been told that I should go into, hey Christopher, I've been told that I should go into being a taste tester for different food companies, that I should be somebody in dealing with perfume because my sense of smell is so finite. And so I have this very, my body is very sensitive. And so um, I've been wondering for years what the sensation is on each ear. And for me, on my right ear is how I receive mediumship wise spirit information. And yet at the same time, I get it straight down and straight into my head, dead center. But most of the time it's off my right ear. But my left ear, I receive info. I receive uploads where information is coming from me to the ETs. I receive downloads where it's information from the ETs to me. And the day that she witnessed it, and so now because of her witnessing that, I can now see I'm very science oriented, but at the same time, I mean, I'll ask questions, I'll do everything, weed everything out before I hit the paranormal. Doesn't matter if it's doesn't sorry, I'm reading different things that just popped up on my screen. Doesn't matter if I'm a psychic medium. I will still and always question because I lean towards the science, towards sciences. But at the same time, I understand. I'm a little off right now, Christopher. He's asking how am I. I'm a little off. I'm still not quite feeling right. At least I don't look like I'm running a fever anymore. Anyway, so it's just, everybody is different, and now I understand that the sensation that I feel from like right almost dead center middle of my eye over to my ear and about that far behind my ear, there's a sensation that I receive or that I have in my head and part of my neck. It's like away from the carotid artery. It's away from that, though. It's weird. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like from the center of my ear, not below my ear, but dead center of my uh I had the word and now it's gone. Um the inner ear, the little God, I can't think of the word either. I want to call it the little hammer. on the inner ear. I just can't think of what that's called. It's like dead center front in that dead center on the inner ear. And it's just, I just find this whole thing very, very interesting, very frustrating, fascinating. Memories that I've got being out in space. I wasn't the only child on that ship when I was 4 years old. The hand and you see our Keith Andrews book is sitting right. Yeah, let's see if I can do this. Oh, squeak. No, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Hello. Put my arm over. Yeah, right here. Here's his book. This is my painting of me as a child, and up there is the. Up there is the what. Ouch! What became known to me as the Infinity Galaxy. And it's actually the Butterfly Nebula, what we humans call the Butterfly Nebula. And, oh, this chair. Anyway, and I wasn't the only child on the ship at the time. There were about 15 of us. There's somewhere between 12 and 15 of us children who saw this. So I was not alone in seeing this. And there's a male who was an adult at the time, who I know for a fact saw it, who was in my life, who I refuse to have in my life anymore. So, because to me, they're not trustworthy. But, then I'm extremely angry at this person. So, and I don't know if I'll forgive. But, anyway, the point is that I know that adults, whether they remember it or not, I don't know. But I, as a child, looking out that window, I will never forget that. That lasted with me. That lasted with me beyond the ET female that looked like a reptilian. There are just certain things that I will not forget. That was one of them. It was something, we had we were watching TV last night and something came on and they showed a part of a galaxy. And I looked at that and I started yelling at the TV going, I've been there. I was there. Because it was so exciting to see on TV. And it's something so simple. But so other people are just going to look at that and go, she's crazy. I don't care anymore. Everybody has their own opinions about ETs and abductees, and, we've been made fun of for generation after generation. I don't effing give anymore. You're good. You have your own opinions. You have your own opinions, your own thoughts, your own belief system, your own religion about everything there possibly is. So what? You gonna ridicule somebody? Are you going to tell somebody they're nuts, they're this, they're that, all because of your own belief system? Who are you to judge? You're not judge and jury. That's not your job. It's not my job. I mean, if you have a religion and you believe in God, that's God's job. That ain't yours. So, and if you don't, think of it as I've been told hierarchy. What's your hierarchy? It's not ours to judge. Everybody has their own experiences. I've been through the counseling. I haven't been through counseling for this, but because of the kind of counseling that I went through, it's helped me to deal with this. And it's not easy. But I strongly believe that there's got to be something out there for those of us who are hardcore experiencers of ETs. And yet, at the same time, that scares the holy living shit out of me. Because why? Because it means the government would be involved. That's some scary shit right there. You know, how many file folders do they have on abductees? Do they actually know how many abductees are out there? It's a whole nother subject, guys. It's a whole nother subject. Anyway, now I'm just babbling. But go back and watch the things that I talked about. Hey, Sandra. Go back and watch the things I talked about, and you'll find out different information, different way of looking at things. Some might be new, some might be old, but it's a hell of a thought process in how they're dealing with us. They have their schedule, they try to work around our schedule, and when they can't, they'll take. Or they'll do what they did to me and force your body not to be able to move. They will physically immobilize you. Hell of a thought process. That 3 to 5 minutes, nobody bothered me. Nobody came up to me. Nobody asked me, "Oh, how you doing? What's going on?" You know, nobody yelled from across the yard going, "Hey, Nikki, you about ready?" You know, there was nothing. Because I just stood there and it looked like I was physically looking out at the view of the mountain. You know, crazy shit, man. Crazy shit. Think about somebody who works, you know. Think about somebody who's, they just taken, gone. Taken, you're gone. Or somebody where, and I had puncture wounds. I took pictures of that stuff, man. And puncture wounds in my legs. That was painful. That was very, very painful. And it felt like somebody just walked in and out of my door. So that's what you're hearing. So it felt like somebody was literally drilling into the bone. Not in my kneecap, but into the side of my knee. And those puncture marks took a while to heal, but they did heal. Hello, whoever else came in. Anyway, a second, let me minimize that. There we go. Anyhow, on that note, anybody have any questions? It's a lot discussed. So, growl. Don't start with me, stomach. No questions? Awesome, Christopher. I'm glad you're getting to see everybody. Anyway, I know the subject is hard for some people, especially in religious communities. This is a really tough subject to handle for some. especially some that have known me for a lot of years, because this is something I never talked about. I didn't talk about, I rarely talked about my abilities. I got shown early on you don't talk about your abilities, for very good reason. But I do want to say, you know, you ever come across somebody that is not medically classified with chemical brain imbalances and things like that? There are numerous different people, there are numerous different groups. And they're an abductee and they've got experiences. Yeah. There are numerous different ways of putting them in contact with all the right people. I've been consistently told to find a support group, ET support group. Quite a few of the problem with that is that a lot of the support groups that I've heard about, and go to research, they're closed groups. They do not accept new people coming in. So that's a lot of the problem with what I've come to learn with that. So do I think that there should be a large amount of groups for abductees? Yes. They need the support. Those that have experienced, yes, they need the support. Because if they can't get it from home and they can't get it from family or friends, a lot of them have a tendency to feel lost. Excuse me. And that's not good, because that can lead into depression. That can lead into a lot of hardcore things that need to be dealt with psychologically. And for me, coming to the realization that I can't stop this, not unless I want to have my contract broken. And do you have any idea what it is? I only know 2 individuals who have ever broken contracts on behalf of the people that have been of abductees. I've only known 2, and it is, oh my God, the things that they have talked about with me, not just with me, but with others. Wow. Talk about legal contracts. So, and not, and like what was said last week, not everybody has a contract, soul contract, regarding abduction. So there are many that do have them. There are some that don't. And the closure fees are a killer. Yeah, Robert, they can be. There are so many different kinds of ETs out there that are abducting for so many different purposes. I am beginning to make realizations that, not in this physical body, and as I move, this chair squeaks, but isn't that fun? Excuse me, not in this physical body, but in one of my 3 clone bodies. And yeah, oh my God, for me to even talk about me having clone bodies, oh, just freaks me out, because that is so foreign, that goes beyond. But I've seen them, I've woken up in them, my consciousness has woken up in them. And that's something that I want to talk about on Wednesday when I get back into my regular schedule, providing my body, my back, my tailbone, the amount of pain I've been in, and I'm not going through migraines. 9 days of migraines, so I want to get back into doing the Wednesday afternoon weekly um, uh, broadcast and talk about. Um, see, now I'm going through a brain fart. It's because I need to get protein in me. Yeah, providing my computer doesn't freeze up again. God, that pissed me off. Couldn't believe it. I was so wanting to get back into this, and then it freezes up on me hardcore. Like 20 minutes before I'm to go live. I was still 5 minutes late, but it's still, I'm like, seriously? That's not okay. Anyway, so yeah, Wednesday I want to get back into talking about dealing with all of, yeah, I did. Finally made it, Christopher. Dealing with all of this, all of what it's like for an abductee, what it's how they're taking you. What I was saying before was I've got 3 clone bodies. For me to even make that statement, it's huge. It's huge. It still freaks me out that I even talk about that. But, I've seen them. I've woken up in those bodies. They deal with consciousness. What I want to talk about on Wednesday is how they deal with consciousness, because I'm starting to really make that understanding and learn. And it's been a hell of an eye opener. I've been slowly not coming around to it. That's not the right way to say it, but realizing, and then I've been having conversations with certain ETs that has just kind of blown my mind. I'm like, whoa. And they said, well, you said you were radiant. I'm like, yeah, I did say that. And yes, I am. It's just trying to wrap my human brain around the concept of what you're telling me. And it's just, wow. So it's been a hell of an eye opener in how they deal with us and how they deal. And it is about human consciousness, but it's more than that. It's so much more than that. But when the rubber meets the road, it deals with the consciousness. It deals with the physical body, but it more so deals with the consciousness and the multiple levels of higher consciousness. I had no idea we had so many levels of higher consciousness. Now it's still mind-boggling to me, but I'm grasping it more so than I have before. Anyway, so anyhow, that's essentially it. I hope you have a good couple of days, and I will be seeing you hopefully this Wednesday. And hope you listen to the S4 Bunker on Spreaker.com and with Eric Cooper and Cole and Kayla Wegleitner. And check out our Keith Andrews and a number of others. Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott and his crew. Good group of people. There's a bunch of others, but that's a pretty good start right there. Start doing some research. You'll be amazed at what you find. Take real good care, guys. Toodles. Bye for now. Okay, now I gotta find the button, so it's gonna be a minute. So let's see here. There we are. All right. Bye.